anti-flyer roll, which leaves us Lantern, Melmetal, and Probopass.
Yeah. So I think, I don't know where it cut out, but I was just saying I would need to figure out which of the Meltans are going to be optimal. I mean, realistically, I have enough candy to evolve every single one of them and figure out which one's the best. But it took me that long, seriously, to get either a decent IV or a PvP IV. So yeah, I've got the 3 there that could be evolved and mucked around with, or I've got the Lantern ready to roll.
I think for the sake of getting some battles in tonight, I think we roll with the Lantern. I think it's a good choice. I think it's going to catch some people off guard.
Yeah, I might make an... Sorry, you go.
Oh, I was just going to say it also gets the Jirachi matchup, which is nice.
Sweet. I might make a quick note as well. Things that I need to kind of get over the next couple of weeks anyway, because it's this Friday is like the Open Cup, but there's going to be more opens, I guess, in Japan as well, like with GoFest coming up. So if we get this team locked in for Friday, I can then always go back and get my Probopass, get my Metal and stuff evolved.
And so the big one you should write down is just for in general is you'll want to do a Magnetic Lure and get a Probopass and a Magnezone. A Magnezone 2.
Yes, I do need to get my Magnezone. Absolutely. I finally got my shiny for that. Do that Dex evolution with the shiny.
Ooh, nice. Nice. It's always fun to get your first Dex entry with a shiny. And then it shows up shiny when it adds it to the Dex.
Yeah. It's like my favorite.
Alright, so we got Lantern in that 4th slot. Quartz, can you add that in?
He's like, nah, I refuse.
And then something I'm seeing now is with the 4 you have, you've got 3 Azumarill, Defense Deoxys, and Lantern that all tend to lose to Meganium. So we'll probably want to factor in a secondary Meganium counter of some sort in one of these last 2 picks.
Sweet.
Also, Alolan Raichu was good against 3, right?
Isn't Raichu kind of good against all 4?
Yeah, kind of good against all 4. Yeah, depending on the
Don't let him know.
Right?
Don't let him know.
I'm going to favor a little bit in Freestyle, so I think it would be unlikely for you to see one, but you definitely have a little bit of an electric and a little bit of a Meganium problem, which leads me for, potentially at those grass Pokemon, there's probably a pretty good argument that Venusaur is the right grass for this team. Primarily because it picks up not Jirachi, Meganium. I don't know where my brain is. Because it has the poison typing and the poison moves.
Okay.
I don't know what the peanut gallery thinks, but that's a consideration as we look at that spot.
Yeah, I agree with I see someone in the chat mentioning it too. But I was going to say Fortress might be good here. That covers Meganium and Alolan Raichu pretty well. And also just generally is one that I think is on the rise.
And that was when we were talking about sort of next after those grasses, potentially a ghost or a dark. And given this team comp, I think Fort is a great suggestion.
Yeah, because I was going to say, if Zoe goes with Venusaur in that 5th pick, then I think we really need to look for something that beats Defense Deoxys in that 6th pick.
Right.
Because Defense Deoxys beats Azumarill, Skarmory, and Venusaur, and then has that mirror matchup. So a Defense Deoxys counter in that last slot, I think, is pretty important. So Fortress is definitely an option there. And then
there's also something that we can sort of look at when we get to battles too, Zoe, is that with the 2 water types, you're going to almost guarantee that you're going to see a grass if your opponent has it. Especially given that one of the waters is Lantern, which has kind of an even matchup with a lot of the electrics you might see. So this means that the Skarm pick we made earlier, or chat made for us, thanks chat, is an excellent one because that Skarm's going to be doing a lot of work in protecting Lantern or Azumarill from the inevitable grass types you're going to see.
Okay. Spicy.
Someone in chat was saying, "Where's the Quagsire love?"
Quagsire love's down here. Where is he?
Back a few cups ago is where the Quagsire love is. What do you guys think about Umbreon in that last slot?
I don't have Playra. What's the last resort?
Last resort.
Umbreon.
Oh,
yeah.
you don't have one?
No, I was like, when is that ever going to be needed? And then it's PvP. So
that's one you should see if you can see if you can trade for one at a GoFest.
Okay, I might actually add that to my list.
You pointed something out too that I think is and we're still kind of there. I mean, Venusaur does sure up, say, Alolan Raichu, but we definitely have something that really totally hard counters an electric type in here. So for that last spot too, we want to make sure that whatever we pick, neutral or better matchup against most of the electrics you're likely to see.
Okay.
Yeah, so that would be a downside of going Fortress, as Fortress does struggle a little with electrics. Yeah, so we're looking for what? Something that helps deal with electric and defense Deoxys, right?
Yeah, I think I think defense Deoxys is the biggest hole right now too.
Yeah, given that it's got positive matchups against your 2 waters and Skarmory, has a pretty good matchup against Venusaur as well. So definitely wants something that's going to sort of dominate that matchup to give them at least something to think about.
Someone was asking if Togekiss fits into this team in some way. This is from chat. I would say probably not, because Togekiss is weak to the Thunderbolt and Rock Slide from Defense Deoxys, and we're trying to cover up that Defense Deoxys hole. And also Zoe doesn't currently have a Great League eligible Togekiss.
Zoe's a big idiot and transferred all the small Togetics from GoFest.
And then someone else said they like Mew as a Defense Deoxys counter. And that is a good choice, but Zoe, I believe, maxed her Mew out. Is it maxed or?
Almost. It's almost maxed out, yeah.
I have a potential suggestion.
I used it as my little dragon killer. Double ice.
Yeah, AJ?
What about Alolan Marowak? He's got Bulldoze.
No, it's
Bone Club, rather. Yeah, Bone Club. So that sort of helps with the electrics. And then he definitely deals with Defense Deoxys, and he has resist against Charm. Not that you necessarily need that here, but it would helps.
I have got one that is, it doesn't have his second move, but he is PvP ready. Alolan Marowak.
I'm just not sure I feel like Bone Club helps that much, because Bone Club is not that good of a move.
Yeah, but the grasses or the electrics you're up against are generally pretty soft. So
right, but I guess
something that helps, right? Not necessarily something that straight up counters electrics.
Right, but also what if the electric in question was a lantern, for example? Then the Alolan Marowak's gonna struggle a little bit there.
Right. You still have Defense Deoxys and Venusaur and Lantern for the mirror.
Yeah, I think
definitely. So we're getting into that rabbit hole that we talked about in Freestyle in general, right? You can't beat everything.
Yeah.
But I think what we have identified is that something we expect to see a lot of, which is Defense Deoxys, we are currently kind of soft to.
Yeah.
So like when someone suggests like, we're kind of weak to Lantern would be an opposing Lantern would be a big problem. More Defense Deoxys, then you're going to see the Lanterns.
Yes.
It doesn't mean we shouldn't ignore that, but it's definitely something to consider that very likely to see a Defense Deoxys on nearly every team you play. And it wouldn't hurt even. I mean, you have a pretty good. You've got 3 of your 5 selected that are good as meta champ, but I do think that something in here that or defense Deoxys matchup, and hopefully doesn't get
Ghost.
So Umbreon has some good matchups here too. Maybe Fortress might be the better option than a Ghost for that reason. Because Umbreon beats Lantern, Deoxys, Skarmory. It pretty much goes even with Venusaur.
That's a good point. So yeah, maybe Fortress would be a good pick. And I mean that's one that not as many people are prepared for, which kind of goes with which kind of goes with what Zoe was wanting, is something that isn't on that top 15 list we have.
Right.
So I think Fortress could be a good choice.
Like Fortress, I think Fortress is going to catch some people by surprise too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think everyone's going to know the Fortress matchups, which you can use to your advantage.
Yeah, I definitely, when I first came up against Fortress in one of the Silph Cups, I was just like, what the heck moves do you have? Like, what are you weak to? Like, it definitely caught me. I mean, like, I know I'm not la hardcore, but I think that pause and making you think about it is pretty good.
Also, Fortress has the lovely little earthquake surprise too, that while it certainly has a losing matchup against most electrics, at least in sort of shields down at the end of a match, you have the ability to win those if you navigate the game that way. So you're not totally foregoing sort of that extra electric coverage there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a pretty big hole with Fortress as a pick, though, and that's Shadow Ball Haunter.
I have one of those.
Well, I'm saying, like, if you choose Fortress as your
it's going to be weak to that.
And it's very hard to build a team that's strong to Shadow Ball Haunter.
Mm-hmm.
That's balanced elsewhere. But it's definitely something to consider that...
That's a good point.
I mean, you would be relying on Lantern a lot against a Haunter. And some Haunters are able to beat Lantern given certain breakpoints and bulk points.
So King is saying that he thinks Zoe can get a last resort Umbreon before Friday. And he's voting for Umbreon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me
I like Umbreon.
Let me go to Twitter. Oi, Sydney, who's got a last resort Umbreon? Tweets going out.
Under 1,500. Make sure you specify that under 1,500.
Seriously, I can specify that and people will still send me screenshots of one that's like maxed out. I'm like, I said, please read the post. Okay, let's go. Sydney and Newcastle. Anyone got it under 1,500? Last resort Umbreon. There we go.
I think if you're not able to get a last resort Umbreon, all hope is lost.
All faith,
us plebs.
Yeah.
All right, so if Zoe can get a last resort Umbreon, we think that would be a good pick in that last slot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so that's one you should try to grab, but we should pick a different mon in that last slot so you can battle tonight.
Yeah, sure. Let's do it. Let's send that tweet out. Please help. Sydney, Newcastle. Let's do this.
What about Sableye? Would Sableye do okay in that last slot?
Sableye would give you the defense Deoxys matchup that we want. It's got a decent electric matchup, which is nice.
Haunter.
But it helps with that Haunter. It does struggle a little bit, or it's not going to help that Umbreon matchup. But I think the team can be fine against Umbreon.
I was gonna make the crazy suggestion, which I'm sure someone will call blasphemy, which is slotting that Sableye in place of that Azumarill.
Oh.
In the way that the team is constructed, potentially, I think Azumarill's not going to have that much to do. You're going to present a much more interesting problem to opposing teams when they come at your team looking to expect an Azumarill there that's just not
I
there.
don't have the Azumarill. I feel like,
someone
wait a second.
Someone asked, what about Spiritomb? Spiritomb is kind of just a downgrade of Sableye. The only real reason it had a moment of fame is because Sableye was banned from Nightmare Cup.
Oh, yeah.
But Spiritomb is just generally not as good as Sableye. It has worse moves overall.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't think Spiritomb is a very good choice. King is saying he can't see Azumarill not being on the team, and because Zoe's pretty familiar with the Azumarill. It sounds like it's probably one of the Pokemon she's used the most, which I think is a good point to consider. Yeah. And someone else is saying that the team would be pretty weak to Altaria without Azumarill, which I think is another good point.
Yep.
So I think if we leave the Azumarill in, and I think add that Sableye, I think this is looking like it could be a good team to work with.
Mm-hmm. And then if I can get a Last Resort Umbreon, sub that in for the Sableye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it also works well. It also works well with Sableye, so you could potentially try both and see which you like better.
Mm-hmm.
Far be it from us to suggest bluffing when you're live streaming your your hand.
Your team, your exact combination of teams.
For others tuning in, I suppose bluffing is an option when it comes to Umbreon. Like if it does a lot of good coverage in your freestyle team. But here, I don't think that is one of the handicaps of streaming it.
Yeah,
well, I think we're starting to itch to get some battles on. I think we've got some moves to fix real quick, but why don't we get those done real quick and let's get some battles. Let's see how this team works.
Let's do it. So what are we working with? I need I rename them.
Yeah, and so you have people lined up to battle, right?
Yeah, I've got a couple
you could send them these 6 so that they can start preparing as we get the moves sorted out.
I'll chuck that in. Okay, my Azumarill, Skarmory. Sableye. Cool. Okay, so Azumarill. Defense. Oopsies. Give me you. Change your name up so we can just have them all together. One thing I wish they had on the iPhone, like the little scroll key, so you can actually. I wonder if you can do it in this one. I've never actually tried to do the Is it the spacebar hold? Oh, damn it! Doesn't do it. Okay. Anyway, so on the Android phones, how you can like just go to the front of the name without having to retype everything in. Lantern.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of creative naming nomenclatures out there. I know I've spent a lot of time with mine, but a lot of people like to use hex.
Yeah, I use
confusing to me.
Yeah, I use the like the hash for trades. So anything that's from Australia trades will be like hashtag, and then I use like exclamation country for if it's distance trades, because I do way too many distance trades. So I've got like a whole little system. But I've started using the dot for PvP. I think I saw Brandon and that were using that for the PvP.
I use like the pound symbol, like the UK pound.
Oh yeah,
for things that are battle ready, and then the cent symbol for things that are like, well, this I'll save for the future.
Yeah.
All right, so let's tackle some moves here.
Yep.
So let's maybe start with Sableye and work backwards, just because I think Azumarill is the one that's going to be the trickiest to decide on. So
Spend some
Sableye,
TMs, boys.
yeah, and some Stardust.
Yeah.
So to start, you're definitely going to want Shadow Claw and Sableye, because it's got a real good damage output as well as energy generation.
So fast. Give me out. Farewell Faints. Hey, Shadow Claw. Nailed it. Dunsky.
And then you're going to want to add that second move.
Done. I wanted an excuse to spend some dust before Japan, just to see how much dust I can get in Japan as like a interesting thing. So let's do it. Let's spend some dust.
And then, so you want Foul Play. What do you guys think for the other move between Power Gem and Shadow Sneak? Because there is some debate there.
I think definitely Power Gem for the Umbreon matchup. It just helps so you don't get walled by darks.
I'm also on Team Power Gem. Just as it has versatility than Shadow Sneak, which is really only used exactly one time. And Power Gem gives you some outs against some of the things that people tend to bring in to fight your. I like it.
All right, good point. Yeah, so I think keep the
Bye-bye
Power
Shadow
Gem
Sneak.
and get rid of Shadow Sneak.
Donkey. Foul Play. Beautiful.
Who? One down.
Solved.
Spend one
Yay!
afternoon with us, and
I'm so
you're
glad
gonna
I
get rid of all your dust.
I powered this one up last night. I was like powering up my Saber earlier in the week. And then someone like in a chat, someone was like, yeah, and you know, like how Sableye is not really that useful anymore because the new charm, blah, blah, blah. I was like, no, I just finally powered it up. Don't say that. But we're using him. Good little boy.
Be able to take advantage of that. Players might see that and go, "Ooh, I want to bring my charm user," and then you just run 3 things that destroy the charm user. It's always fun.
All right, so what you have so far is good, and then you just got to add that second attack to get Sludge Bomb.
Yep, new attack. I don't know why I hadn't done that yet. I thought I had. Maybe I think I went into my last comp and I was like, oh god, no, I hadn't done my moves yet. I'm so good at PvP, guys. Get rid of Petal Blizzard, Sludge Bomb, beautiful. Dunsky.
Wow.
Efficient TM usage there.
All right, so
The
2
one
down.
time.
All right, and then you're gonna want to add that second on DD. So it looks like you got to dump some rare candy now too. We're just taking all your resources.
Let's just do it. I mean, let's just mess me right up. Boom. I mean, I needed something to put candy into, so. Oh yeah, the 100,000 though is rough, isn't it? When was that bug? Can we like time travel back to when that bug happened for the extra moves? Oh, beautiful.
That one came out right.
Nailed it. I'm still going to be drowning in TMs. Damn it.
Some people have all the luck.
I'm sorry.
And people in chat, someone in chat said DD is definitely worth it.
Okay. Easy done.
All right, so there's some trade-offs here on Lantern. So the charge moves are good, that's what you want. But the question is basically on the fast move. So Charge Beam lets you charge up your moves faster. And it's going to let you like win a mirror match against another Lantern. And does better against like Azumarill and Skarmory, for example. But the Water Gun gives you better neutral damage in a lot of fights. It charges slower, however, but it also allows you to beat Bastiodon and Probopass and Melmetal, I believe.
Okay.
So is there anything you guys want here?
I think Water Gun, in my opinion, is what you need.
Yeah, I've always been on Water Gun.
Cool.
I agree there. I mean, someone in chat point out, well, Charge Beam for Skarmory. You don't need Charge Beam to beat Skarmory. You're going to beat Skarmory no matter what. I think Water Gun's going to do much better for you.
Okay. So even though it's neutral, it's still going to be able to charge up the electric to deal with Skarmory.
Yeah. Well, and it just does a lot of neutral damage where you just chip away at things with just the water gun damage itself.
Bye bye, Charge Beam.
But I'm just warning you, it is slower, so you might be a little frustrated at first.
Okay, that's all right. We'll work with it. Oops, sorry. Next, Skarmory.
The attacks you have are right. Cases where you will want the second attack on Skarmory, which is generally Flash Cannon. It lets you do a whole. It lets you actually do some damage to a Bastiodon or a Probopass where you're normally doing little to nothing. Sometimes important in the mirror, but it's probably the least important second charge move of any of the mons we're going to look at. So if you want to spend the dust, and I think everyone in chat is just getting off on how much dust is being spent right now.
How much you can spend?
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely worth having. There are scenarios where you're gonna be upset that you don't have it. I think.
Ooh,
King is saying.
Guys, look at this.
King says double move 100%.
Oh, look at this. Oh, is she gonna do it?
Yeah. Giving the fans what they want.
Got this satisfaction of pressing this button. Oh, there it is. Oh, look at that. Boom.
Needed.
Beautiful.
Love it. What do we have?
And then Azumarill.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Oh, don't say that about my son.
I'm gonna.
You guys ready for this can of worms?
I'm gonna propose that I actually think this Azumarill might be correct. The big reason being having Lantern on your team to fill that sort of water role, and sort of afford to have your Azumarill be spec'd a little more aggressively. Also, we already talked a little bit about grass matchups and how prominent you're going to see grass coming in. Having Ice Beam is going to be really. I think you want Ice Beam and Play Rough really bad. I think you're going to get more.
Could you show the whole team? Oh, never mind. It's on the side.
Oops, sorry.
I'm going to challenge that. I'd say Ice Beam, Hydro Pump might be the team for it.
Interesting.
Wow.
I could get behind Beam Pump just because you've got
go.
Essentially, Play Rough gives you reasons to want Play Rough are the Azumarill mirror match, which you simply can't win without Play Rough.
Yeah.
You want it for Metacham, which you don't always need it, but it's nice to have sort of a nuke. You might want it for a Sableye, and then you want it for like random water mirror matches, which you're just not getting into in freestyle these days.
I think,
but you'll want it for Umbreon, right?
Yeah, you want it for Umbreon.
Matchup though that I think with Beam and Hydro Pump you can still win that fight just because of
definitely.
The resistances. So like I don't think you're giving up much here by not bringing Play Rough this time. This is sort of the dance you'll do every time you enter a freestyle tournament is what do you want on here, but I actually think with this team for Ice Beam, Hydro Pump.
Should we get a vote of what the masses think?
Also, bye Jimmer. Thanks for hanging out.
Why don't we could we've got the poll up, so let's
poll's up.
Okay.
So
hey, that was fast.
We've got the best team in the biz back there. And by best team I mean
BRB. I gotta vote for my move set here.
Oh, it's changing.
Votes are in. Come on, votes.
What do y'all want? Place your bets, ladies and gentlemen. Roll up. Have your say.
While this is going, I'm gonna say Ice Beam, Hydro Pump is the least expected moveset by far. So when someone is dealing with your Azumarill, they're not going to be once you use that ice beam, they're not going to be expecting a hydro pump after that. They're going to be expecting the play rough, at least in my experience.
And I've been running the play rough hydro pump one for a while, and sometimes it's just too slow to get that first shield out of the way. Where ice beam is going to come out just a little bit faster, and it's going to give you a little bit more action in a Skarmory matchup where it really comes down to hitting him with a hydro pump and getting a shield out of the way. I think it's going to play a little better than play rough hydro pump does, because the moves are both just so slow.
Yeah. King has a good point, is that people will know her movesets most likely. Fair enough. We are streaming it after all.
So what
more votes out there? It looks like Ice Beam play
looks like Ice Beam Hydro Pump seems dead in the water. So it seems like the general consensus is Ice Beam and something.
Okay, if we talk it out, like, what is the loss of not having the fairy move, the play rough? We lose out on
the
Metacham,
the mirror match.
The mirror match.
The mirror match is the big one, and then your dark types like Umbreon and Sableye are the other ones. But,
what is my backup to that? Not having. So if I remove play rough on Azumarill, what would I then use instead for?
Generally, just still Azumarill. The upside is that you can still hit an Umbreon with a Hydro Pump, and it's still pretty dead. And you still resist all of its moves. For the most part, you don't resist Last Resort, but you don't take a lot from it. And there's also, there's some scenarios where Play Rough isn't even good enough to beat a Sableye. If they know what they're two shields and know what they're doing. So like, I actually just think that the flexibility of having sort of a faster, quicker move and a move that hits harder is just going to play much better for you.
I mean, I think it's the least used one, just because Play Rough is popular for that mirror match mostly. But there's definitely advantages to taking that risk and going Ice Beam Hydro Pump.
And will that change what we're doing with our Lantern then if we do this Hydro Pump?
I don't think so.
No, it won't. You'll have the option essentially.
Okay.
I just don't think that you're going to find a lot of scenarios where you're going to need Play Rough, because most of the things that Play Rough covers, your team is actually pretty well positioned against currently.
Yeah, it's a good point. So yeah, maybe try it. It's up to you. But I mean, you can always try. You can try one or the other, and if you don't like it, then you can switch it.
Yeah.
Later.
Yeah. The upside is we know Ice Beam is the move. Is the move to keep. That's definitely. So I would say let's play around with it a little bit, and let's get some battles in and see if there's any instances where Hydro Pump we would have been set.
I mean, do you have a preference off the bat? What are you thinking? What do you think?
I'm more familiar with Play Rough just because I've had those matchups, the mirror match, and that kind of stuff. But once again, I'm here to learn and happy to take from everyone else's knowledge and stuff. Like, I know I'm not the god of PvP, so I'm keen to take advice. So
nobody is the god.
I mean, it's a pretty divided topic. I mean, the vote favored Play Rough. There's several people in chat arguing for Play Rough. So, I mean, it's pretty divided here. So I think it ultimately comes up to what you want to do.
Do you guys think change it to Hydro Pump and test it out, and then we can always change it back? Like, I've got the TMs. So we can always give it a whirl.
I say we give it a whirl. This is what chat voted for, despite the fact I think they all still want to see you waste TMs. I think we start here. I think we let's get some games in, and see how we feel. And that's something to keep in mind while you're practicing for this tournament. Is ask yourself, had Play Rough been Hydro Pump here, But
yeah.
I have been happier.
Would
God,
I?
I hope you nab a shiny on stream right now.
Yeah, me too.
Ah.
I was like, soz boys. Sorry to let everyone down. Okay, let me quickly. You guys will need the teams as well for who I'm versing. So the first one up was one of my Patreon peeps. Their team is regular Raichu, Tropius, Cresselia, Azumarill, Fortress, and Medicham.
Interesting.
That's a spicy team.
That's a spicy team. So, again, for those listening in the back, Raichu, Tropius, Cresselia, Azumarill, Fortress, and Medicham.
So, just kind of looking at that team, I'd say your team is pretty well positioned to deal with the Cresselia. Venusaur is going to struggle in that matchup, but like Skarmory, Deoxys, and Sableye tend to do quite well against Cresselia. You do have to watch out for the Tropius a little bit, because Venusaur and Skarmory are the only ones from your team that beat Tropius.
Okay.
Except for Air Slash.
If it's an Air slash Tropius, it sort of flips that matchup.
Yeah, but most people are running Razor Leaf, so it's probably safer to assume it's Razor Leaf and then adjust on the fly if it's not.
Definitely.
So we'd be going Sableye countering Fire. We got options. Wait, oh no, I didn't bring Fortress, did I, for this one? No. So, and then what's Fortress is only weak to fire,
Fortress
isn't it?
is only weak to fire, but it's going to tend to beat your Deoxys, your Venusaur pretty hard, and it also will beat your Sableye.
Damn it.
So it seems like Skarmory is probably one you're going to want to bring, because it's going to help deal with that Tropius and that Fortress.
Tropius, Fortress.
I think we should fully expect a
beat a Medicham
Raichu.
well.
You think we can expect a Raichu, you're saying?
Yeah. If he's reading the team the way we are, and that your Skarmory is a pretty safe choice, I think we should expect a Raichu. It's good matchups against Azumarill, Lantern. I'm not sure about Sableye, but definitely against Skarmory.
So going Skarmory, Tropius, Fortress. Then Azu for the Mirror and for Medicham. Sableye for Cresselia.
That leaves you a little weak to that Raichu, though. So you might want to look at Venusaur would be a good option for the Raichu. Deoxys or Sableye are decent.
I mean, one of the things I would do here too is that if you're going to lead that Skarmory, I would look at which of the Pokemon your opponent has would force you to switch right away. Are you going to run away from?
And Open is so like
it gets overwhelming, right? But if you go, I'm going to lead with Skarmory because it's safe. The only thing you have to run away from, realistically, I mean, you don't have necessarily a winning matchup against Azu, but you beat each other up enough that I don't think you want to give up advantage there. So if you're gonna run away from a Raichu, you need to make sure that the back two things in your lineup, one is a good switch and one they both beat Raichu. Otherwise, the play pattern is simple. You run away with the Skarmory, beats Raichu, they beat it, and then the Raichu runs over your team, which is hard for a Raichu to do. It's not all that, it's not really something that does that, but you want to make sure that you're structured in a way that makes sense. So like the team comp you have there is actually pretty, Defense Deoxys certainly has some losses in there. Pretty safe. Like it's gonna beat up whatever they bring in against it. Because
what is my Raichu? What am I dealing with Raichu here? Like in my team. against pure
But
electric. I don't.
Your best
thought-
counter is probably that Venusaur as it
Yeah.
stands.
Yeah. Okay.
But then like the Sableye and the Defense Deoxys, I think can narrowly beat it if I remember the matchups
Okay.
correctly.
Yeah, they should do fine against it. Wild Charge, it's going to hurt almost anything it hits, but I definitely think this setup here is really good to check a lead.
Okay.
Raichu.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I think the only concern might be like a Fortress in the back, because Fortress will give the Deoxys and Venusaur kind of a hard time, but I think that's something that you can work around.
Not to mention that if you bring in either and they bring in the Fort, Skarmory comes back to clean it up. So like I think your plan here is essentially and if it's Raichu, switch to Deoxys, otherwise stay in. But I think we should get some battles in. Let's actually see how this goes.
Let's see if he's actually still there on the let's see. I'll ping him as well.
There we go.
Yeah, sweet, he's there. Cool. Yeah, he's like listening. Oh, okay, Maddie. Hello. Watch me be like, what do I need to see? This is why my brain just goes like, damn, do I swap or do I like keep staying in with stuff? So
that's why you sort of prep in advance and know that you aren't planning to swap out of anything other than that Raichu matchup.
Yeah.
But we're gonna sort of let you play and talk through kind of what you're seeing, and then at the end of the match we can circle back around and
Buzz. Okay. No shield there on the Medicham. Bye bye. This is when all of the practices were so Raichu was either of the two. Gonna shield even though probably cheeky brick break, very sneaky. And then he's gonna swap as well to there's the Fortress in the back.
The upside here is that
which out of Frenzy and Sludge does the most just flat damage?
Frenzy Plant.
Yeah, you want to fire the Frenzy Plants.
Yeah, Frenzy Plant is like one of the more broken moves in the game. So unless like Sludge Bomb has a better type advantage, you want to just be spamming Frenzy Plant.
Okay. Sweet. And then for Deoxys, I have barely used it as well. What would you guys recommend?
Psycho Boost has like solid neutral damage and is a lot spammier. So like if both moves are neutral, you want to use that Psycho Boost.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like for example, against Fortress, Thunderbolt hits for neutral, but Psycho Boost is resisted.
Before we wrap up, there isn't Psycho Boost resisted here because it's Bug Steel.
Bug takes neutral from Psychic?
But Steel resist.
Not very effective.
Yeah, I was saying Psycho Boost is resisted, but Thunderbolt is neutral. Did I say that wrong?
Oh, crap, sorry. Yeah, sorry.
I think you said it right.
Misinterpreted.
Yeah. I must have it wrong.
When Psycho Boost is neutral, and my brain just went like, do. Okay, and there's the Raichu back in. And I've got no Protect Shields because I was a big goose and shielded when I shouldn't have, so that's going to be GG. Easy on my end.
You're getting love from the chat, though.
Oh, I love you too, Dave.
So there's definitely a couple little that there were two sort of decision points that I think we can call back on. I think that match was yours to win.
Mm-hmm.
And they were pretty simple. The shield management, obviously you caught what you got caught on the shield bait.
Yeah.
Nothing that Raichu has will kill your Venusaur.
Sorry, go again?
Nothing that Raichu could throw at you there was going to kill your Venusaur.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because Venusaur is going to resist the Brick Break and the Wild Charge. So you don't need to use a shield in that Venusaur versus Raichu matchup.
Okay.
And then the other little one was, and you made a quick decision on with that Fortress bringing back you brought in the Defense Deoxys as opposed to the Skarmory. That final matchup with Raichu. So if you brought Skarmory in there, Skarmory would then finish off their Fortress. Their Raichu would come and finish off your Skarmory, but then you have Defense Deoxys ready to go. Defense Deoxys takes a ton of, actually loses that Fortress fight.
We did get a very interesting comment from Twitch asking for a rerun, the same lineups, same leads.
Okay.
And see how you do with this added advice. You guys, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I like it.
Your opponent
so,
change
what
up what they do, but yeah.
But yeah, what Ken was saying is the Fortress tends to have a good matchup against your Defense Deoxys. And the Fortress is going to lose pretty badly to your Skarmory. So if you had brought your Skarmory in on the Fortress, then you'd have your Defense Deoxys deal with the Raichu. And it's just lining up those two matches, you're going to do a lot better.
So Deoxys, Raichu, Skarmory, Fortress.
Yeah. And then the one other thing, and this is a lot minor, is on that Skarmory versus Medicham matchup in the lead, you always want to not shield that first move. Because the power-up punch boosts its attack. So if they had used a shield, their second power-up punch would be doing more damage than the first one.
True.
That's kind of like you get a feel for it. Rule of thumb wise, and something I always do is if nothing they can throw at you is going to kill you, you're best not shielding.
Yeah.
And that takes a lot of practice and reps with your team, but you know, especially against Medicham, it's almost never correct to shield the first move. Because it's almost always power-up punch, and if it's say an ice punch, it's something from there.
Cool. So Skarmory lead, no shield, Medicham ever on the first one. Deoxys, it was Venusaur for Raichu, and then Deoxys Fortress. Yeah.
No, Deoxys for Raichu.
It's like
Deoxys for Fortress.
Yes, sorry.
And then your Venusaur doesn't need to shield from the Raichu.
Correct.
Let's see if it goes differently. My guess is your opponent will likely also shield that first charge move from Skarmory, but we'll find out. That's part of the fun, right?
Mystery adventure. Okay. Let's see how we go. Fingers crossed, boys. Give me your energy.
We believe.
Open Cup is so weird. Like, at least like theme cups, you know exactly, like, you're like, okay, this for this and these exact moves, and everyone's always running this, blah blah blah. But it's just like, oh, and he's swapping out. I'm gonna
so now you can switch
that stored energy. Switch advantage. I don't need to shield because we just discussed that.
Even this wild charge hurts, but you're certainly in plenty good position here to
spam some frenzies.
Exactly.
Would you recommend shielding for the second, or it still won't?
That's a close one. That's like a tough judgment call.
Yeah, that's gonna be. Oh, yep, just enough.
It's okay.
To take me
You're
out.
Still up on shields.
Yeah,
he's got that Raichu in.
So bring that Deoxys in for sure.
Oh, okay. Oof. Sorry, that was my big goof. Yeah, I should have saved that for Fortress having the as well.
Yep,
would have been.
But this is part of that learning process.
Yeah. Yep, that was big dumb, big weak. Swear words. It's like, oh yeah, bring in that. That's a charge move. Like, very. Oh, let me swap. Oh, damn it. The swap's ready to go as well, and then I should be able to tap swap Deoxys Gimion. That was my big goof, and then he's going to swap into the Fortress. Yep.
So you want to go for Thunderbolt here?
Yep, definitely for Thunderbolt.
Okay, that does way, sweet. Better than the Psycho.
So he's going to go for probably a Heavy Slam, I suppose?
Yeah.
Ooh, Earthquake.
And here, if you can just get to that Psycho boost, that's what you want to do.
Okay.
Oh.
Just.
Because it's so low, the Psycho boost would have been enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's not much you could do in this situation because he's still got Raichu there in the back. But in this case, you got a favorable matchup against a Fortress that just expended a lot of energy. So you definitely wanted to farm it a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And then hopefully get that Sky Attack in as the Raichu comes out. And maybe. But, you know, he had the Medicham there in the back, so it's one of those things. But yeah, I mean, that was just kind of like an honest goof of bringing in Skarmory against the Raichu.
goof.
And I mean, we've all done that where you just accidentally like bring in the wrong mon, and you're just like, crap, I just lost the game because I did the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Because if you had brought in Deoxys there, I think you would have run away with that game.
Yeah. Damn it.
Well, I mean that's why we practice, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? You get out all the.
It's like as soon as you touch it, you're like, why did I do that? Like, but like your brain just goes like,
Yeah, and you make all the mistakes in practice so that you can have that flawless tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want me to pick a different person, different team?
Well.
Sorry, different person to do. We'll go that same.
2 out of.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. F3. If you are still, I should just hit rematch. If you're still in there, I'll send him another little ping. Or do you want to do same person again?
Yeah, let's do a best 2 out of 3 against this person and then mix it up. And let's see, on Twitch chat we got Valor Ash is saying you're doing quite well because it's a lot of info to all take in at once. And King said he can see a lot of improvement from the first match.
Cheers, guys. And he was saying he can pick a different combination, can't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Okie dokie. I wonder if he's just going to roll the same thing or if he's going to spot. That's when it's like head games.
The predictable answer to your Skarmory lead is a Raichu lead, in which case you're already somewhat prepared for it. So, I don't know, you guys. What do you think? Running the same 3 against this?
It's hard to know because some people, like if they win, they'll just run the same team again. And other people will like, mix up their team or use the same team but change the lead kind of thing. But I mean, I think like we said, besides that Raichu matchup, the Skarmory in the lead is like pretty favorable. So it's kind of just a guessing game of like if you think he's going to lead the Raichu again or not. But like statistically, the Skarmory is going to be the best play.
Okay. So what are we looking at? Skarmory. He was running Raichu Medicham. So I feel like he'll probably change it up just for fun. I like because I've battled with this with F3 like a bit, but
Yeah, I mean, knowing your opponents is one thing as well, right? So you can definitely use that to your advantage. Go for it.
Yeah, but if he does, I have no idea what he would bring instead. Probably Cresselia because it's different and takes effort to bring it in under. He might, but
also from Twitch chat we have a couple people advocating for same team Venusaur lead, and someone else is wanting to see Sableye, Venusaur, and Skarmory.
There's a few comments for same team Venusaur. Happy. I'll do that.
All right, so you just gotta think through the scenarios here, of like, so you're leading Venusaur, but what matchups would you switch out of?
Venusaur, switch out. What would I? Medicham because of the Ice Punch potentially.
That's one that you can usually stay in.
You can stay in
because Venusaur resists the counter damage. And so as long as you remember what we said where you don't shield the first move and always shield that second move, you should do pretty well against a Medicham.
If it is Medicham versus Venusaur, would someone, if you can't count, like say if I'm not proficient in counting how much to charge up like Ice Beam versus counter Dynamic Punch, would it still be the same scenario even though it would take way more of my health?
Yeah, because like Ice Punch on the first time isn't gonna be enough to kill your Venusaur.
Okay. Sweet.
The only way it's gonna kill your Venusaur is if they get a power-up punch boost first and then land an Ice Punch.
Okay.
Which is why you just always shield that second move.
Yeah. Sweet.
So what else might you want, or what might you want to swap out?
What else we got? There is Yumo could have ice, but I have got the grass advantage. Tropius. Let me have a squeeze. Tropius. And then, I just lost my screen. Cresselia with the psychic, yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm not. Do you guys know the matchup? I'm assuming Confusion Cresselia maybe switch out, but not Psycho Cut.
Or against which mon?
If it was a Cresselia lead against a Venusaur lead.
I think you can beat a Psycho Cut one, but that's not great. I'm sure that there's a sim right now in chat, but that is definitely not a matchup you want. Although Cresselia lead would be awfully bold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. Cresselia is usually used like in the back when shields are down.
Mm-hmm.
But Fortress is the one that you really want to switch out of.
Okay.
Because Fortress is going to double resist Frenzy Plant and Sludge Bomb.
It's only weak to... Yep.
So Fortress basically just farms you for energy.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get in a Fortress matchup, you're going to want to swap out.
To my Sableye.
Are you running Sableye?
Sableye, Jesus. My Skarmory. Was that what we ordered?
Well, it's risky though, because if you switch to your Skarmory and they have
then he can bring in the Raichu, yeah.
So the Deoxys, or if you swap Deoxys to say Sableye, would probably be the safer switch option. Either of those two.
Okay.
Alright, so let's run it and see how it goes.
Oh, challenge expired.
I guess we took too long figuring it out.
Friend code RIP. Sorry, I'll reset that later. Battle. I'll resend. Okay.
For what it's worth, Cresselia, even if it's running Psycho Cut, it still beats Venusaur.
Okay. Fingers crossed, boys. Hey, Games on Tour. Legend. Hitting you with that sub. What a good egg. Okay, let's do this. And Fortress. Aye. And we discussed this just now. Haha. So, going Deox, Thunderbolt. I will not be shielding that. And I can't hear anyone for whatever reason. There we go. Cool. Okay. Would I want to shield to keep Deoxys in this situation as well?
That's up to you, because like it could be valuable to keep it alive, but you could also let it die off. And then bring your Skarmory to kind of farm up the Fortress.
Okay. It's farming time, boy. Okay, and he's going to swap to the Raichu and my... Oh, because I switched first, of course. I'm going to shield to keep Skarmory. Oh, you cheeky. Cheeky. Sorry, we even said, didn't we?
And you got that switch clock up. Oh, good timing.
That was just in time. I'm not going to shield. Ha! Got him! Okay. Your little brick break thinking that's going to hurt me. Thank you very much. Let's do this. Okay. Feeling a lot better about this one. Boars. God, Frenzy Plant is insanity. Damn, that should have been a yes then, I guess.
No, I think that was a good play.
Because I keep my Skarmory alive with the shield, yeah.
Yeah, and
yeah.
Fortress is a bad matchup for Venusaur.
Okay. Even though it was fairly low.
Yeah.
Because it would still take me down before I could even get something back up on the bench. I'm really curious to see when the PvP change comes in, because my little taps. I cannot tap fast enough sometimes. Moonblast, that is wild, okay. I don't think I've ever really versed a Cresselia in Great League either. Come on, Sky Attack, go. It's not going to get it down, I don't think, with this charge.
Go for Flash.
Flash? It's gonna... Yo,
that was close.
Alright, that was so close. I thought they might hit their charge.
That's like one of those ones where you'll learn with like more practice that a case like that, Flash Cannon does just like a little bit more damage than Sky Attack. And so the Flash Cannon, I mean, it ended up not mattering. But like there's some cases where like if you're not going to get to 2 Sky Attacks, it's better to do a Flash Cannon because it does just like a tiny bit more damage.
Okay.
That was a great
but
win.
When it's like when it's getting that close, that it's like just get that little bit extra and then try to finish them off quick.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll say just 2 things, and actually one of them is already said. With that Flash Cannon, would have been a more secure win, as opposed to the riskier win that you had everybody at the edge of their seats. The Fortress had just used Earthquake, right? Fortress had Heavy Slam and Earthquake, and none of those do a lot of damage to Skarmory.
Yeah.
You should have just farmed up that Fortress as much as possible with the Skarmory, and then Cresselia would have had no chance. Because you would have had so much energy going into that match.
Yeah, because that Fortress matchup is one where you didn't need to use a charge move.
Yes, as I used it, I was
killed
just like,
it with fast.
Yeah. I think that's one of my like when I do PvP, I think when I'm like loading back that has got to instinctively always do it, and I need to learn to pump the brakes for stuff like that when it's like, did I really need to use a charge attack? Probably not. So definitely that's a good call out.
That's a hard skill to learn because like even some of us that have been practicing, playing a lot like since PvP came out, we still like instinctively do that sometimes, and we fire off a charge move when we shouldn't, and we're like, shoot, like that was a waste.
Or I've definitely gone too far the other way and over farmed and then lost too. So there's definitely a balance.
Yeah.
So let's see. You want to do the tiebreaker?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
For all the marbles.
For all the marbles. Last one. I'll send him another message. Oh, please, Nummel in my house. Yum. Also, shout out to everyone who didn't just totally exploit my friend code being on the screen and send me invites. I love you guys. Absolute legends. Good community here. Thank you.
So one thing I would say to keep in mind as you're choosing your 3 here is that they've brought Raichu and Fortress both times, because those both seem to have good matchups against you.
Yeah.
So we're probably going to want to try to structure your team of 3 around dealing with those.
Yeah. Okay, hello? There we go. So Raichu, the pain in my backside, and Fortress, which I have. So Skarmory is my Fortress. His Raichu is my Skarmory. Therefore, my something against his Raichu is going to be. What would you guys recommend as best of mine against Raichu?
I mean, the Venusaur has been working. I mean, Venusaur is your best answer to a Raichu.
Okay.
It's just the only tricky part is that your Venusaur loses so badly to Fortress. That is a lot of rock, paper, scissors with that Venusaur Skarmory versus Raichu Fortress, where whoever gets it lined up the way they want is going to have the advantage. But the Venusaur does seem like a solid option.
What do you guys think of how does Sableye do against Fortress?
I believe it loses, but I think it's close.
Yeah, it loses.
What do you guys think of it loses?
It's close though.
Might be risky, but maybe like a DD lead with a Venusaur and a Sableye in the back. Would that be horrible against the Fortress?
Wait, DD, Sableye, and what?
Venusaur.
That whole team tends to lose to Fortress.
Right. But as long as you secure that Venusaur, you just sort of render that a little bit less useful. And then DD and Sableye can put in some work against everything else, right? I guess not Azumarill.
I don't know, I just think that the Skarmory, it does well against everything besides the Raichu. I think it's a little hard-pressed to not bring Skarmory.
If I were him, and I'm seeing those three coming in, I'm sort of predicting that DD is not going to be a lead. So that's the thing I'm thinking.
As a like a brain pick thing kind of thing, like, oh, I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, but
what about like a Sableye lead with Skarmory and Venusaur?
Well, the thing is that you can't. Well, you would switch out against any. Would you just sacrifice it against the Fortress or Azumarill if that came up?
Probably, because it gets them down pretty low.
Could work.
Or the alternative would be to gamble with either Skarmory or Venusaur in the lead, and if you get a bad lead, you can swap to Sableye. That's a technique Zoe called like a safe swap.
I'm willing to give that a try.
We got from chat someone saying Lantern lead beats the likely Fortress lead.
Yeah, because
I'd be tempted to either run the same three or just dramatically depart from what you've been using, but
but because he keeps using Raichu Fortress, that kind of locks us back into the Skarmory Venusaur thing, doesn't it? Yeah. Damn it. I'm gonna roll with this just to spice it up, try something different. I don't know. Then so Venusaur, optimal if it's Raichu, and then he's gonna leave with Fortress though. Head games. Sableye is the safe swap. What do you guys think? We'll just go same three.
Yeah, probably DD is a better safe swap than Sableye,
yeah,
but
cool.
You know, Sableye would be a little bit more surprising.
Okay.
Yeah. The stakes aren't very high, so you might as well test this out, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Alright, so what do we have?
Let's see. Ready spaghetti. Watch it be. Yeah, damn it. I was like, my brain was saying it's probably going to be Fortress.
You're ready with that switch menu already?
Safe swapping it up. Yeah. And we have not been shielding. We've been using Earthquake. Watch him swap it up. Yep. Heavy Slam. Still doesn't do too bad. Thunderbolt for the better damage on the Fortress. And then if we can get what is it? I can get one Psycho Boost if I'm doing.
Yeah, if you can get to the Psycho Boost, that would be prime.
But cool, sweet.
Very nice. Now this puts you at a losing matchup, but at least you're up on shields.
Yes.
So this is very nice for you.
And then farm the Skarm, and then the Raichu. We were not.
You don't need to shield because you resist that.
Yeah. We've got only a tiny bit left on our swap, and he's ready when he. Oh, we didn't bring out Raichu spicy.
Okay, very nice. He didn't bring Raichu.
And you can farm this matchup too.
Okay, so would you even use charges at all? Oh, shield? Yes, no.
I mean, eventually you might want to.
I'm gonna need to, yeah.
But you don't want to be shielding against those leaf blades.
Okay. Would you guys use a charge move on this or not?
Yeah, at some point you're gonna, because there's a maximum of 100 energy you can store up.
Okay,
so
I didn't
at some point you gotta just fire it off.
You hit a cap. Yeah. Okay.
Now, that being said, using both at the same time there.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, you do want to come in with a little bit of energy. So
keep it to farm a bit more, so I have it.
Yeah. Okay, so now he's up against a Azumarill. Try to see if you can get to that flash cannon. You're going to do a little bit more damage.
Okay.
It's greedy, but it's worth it. So there you go. Flash cannon's going to do a good amount.
A bit more. Yeah, I had to swap up before actually to get the Venus. Skarmory was still alive, but it didn't actually let me swap. So I
definitely
kept tapping. Then you were saying
a nice beam there. So definitely shield that.
Protect.
And this is GG.
Let's go, boys.
Nice. Well played.
Danke. Beautiful. Yay! She did.
Very nice.
Told you I don't suck at PvP. I'm joking. Heck yes.
Well, you got like several different people.
Yeah,
telling you
a
stuff
multitude of coaches
in your ears, and then you got the chat going on, and
yeah, it's good. It's always good fun.
But now we can roast you for not doing an excellent throw on that Nummel.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry. I'm very lazy. I usually just go for great. That's not gonna be small enough. That was disgusting. That away.
Poor Psyduck.
Poor Psy. Yay! There you go. Excellent. Spicy.
All right, who's up next?
Who's next? Let's see. Pokey McMaster. I think he's still in the. So Matt, Pokey McMaster's team is Azumarill, Bastiodon, Lantern, Defense Deoxys, Venusaur, and Medicham.
A lot more meta.
More those in the back. Azumarill, Bastiodon, Lantern, Defense Deoxys, Venusaur, and Medicham. Yeah, a lot more meta.
So I think your I want to see all the mons up on the screen, but I think your Defense Deoxys does well against like almost this entire team.
Sweet. So, because my Defense Deoxys has got the Electric and Psychic, so it's going to be Electric on the what's Melmetal? Melmetal is weak to Electric, yeah? No, he's got Electric.
But I think you said I thought they had Defense Deoxys, right?
Yes, they do.
Yeah, I think that's in place of the Melmetal. I think that was just a mistake.
Oh, sorry. I was sorry. Yeah. That is correct. Let me go back to the drawing board, eh? Okay, so okay. So I'm just clicking through a few tabs here. Getting my brain around it. Azumarill, where's my team underneath? Cool. There's Mirror, Deoxys, Scum, Lantern. I've got a lot of similar stuff. Okay. So Defense Deoxys is going to be a pick. So Electric dealing with. Who is optimal in Deoxys versus Azumarill? Deoxys is going to come out on top of the Electric.
Yeah. Because the Electric.
And then Electric, yeah.
Your Deoxys has very favorable matchup against this team.
Yeah.
It's got Bastiodon, it's got the Mirror, Medicham, Azumarill, Venusaur, and I believe Lantern too.
Oh, wow.
I believe. Okay. Yeah, I think it beats 5 of those and then has the Mirror match. So
it's a very, very safe switch for you for a very decent lead as well.
Yeah. For each of those, what would you recommend? So Azumarill, obviously, the Electric, Lantern. With Lantern being the dual, does it take double?
What was that?
Lantern's weaknesses, because it's the ground and
His
grass.
lantern. Yeah. You're talking about his lantern is weak to.
Yeah.
Or your lantern.
His lantern, sorry.
So his lantern is weak to your Venusaur.
Yeah.
And your Deoxys.
And my Deoxys.
Your Sableye goes okay, but it's not. I don't think it's a matchup it wants to be in either.
Yeah. So then.
I think your Deoxys Venusaur is going to be a very powerful core against this team.
Yeah, because he doesn't have any flying here to deal with your Venusaur.
Yeah.
And Venusaur is going to beat his 2 water types. It tends to beat Medicham. It has a mirror match, and it can beat Bastiodon as long as it has a shield. So the only thing your Venusaur loses to is his Deoxys.
Okay.
So I agree with AJ that the Deoxys Venusaur core is quite strong.
So Deoxys favorable, Venusaur, Lantern, and Azumarill. And then so what would I be using? Sorry, for my Deoxys versus Bastion. Psychic? No. Yes.
No, Thunderbolt. No, because Bastion's steel, so that resists.
Sorry, it's steel.
It's rock steel.
Yeah, rock
but
steel.
I mean, you can use Psycho Boost just because most of your damage from Deoxys is just coming from the double super effective counter damage. That's just gonna shred his Bastiodon.
Shred him. Okay.
So that's a matchup you can probably farm a little bit.
Okay. And then what's left over? Ooh.
After that, it's kind of interesting. A Bastiodon in the back would dread an Azumarill or Lantern.
But,
especially with the moves you have.
Well, she doesn't have Hydro Pump, though.
That's right.
But you guys don't like maybe Sableye for that 3rd spot?
I was thinking about Sableye, because Sableye is going to beat... It beats Deoxys and Medicham. I believe it beats Lantern. And while it loses to the other 3, it's pretty close most of the time.
Plus Venusaur and Deoxys can almost sweep if you get their Deoxys out of the way, right? So bringing that Sableye might be nice.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Cool.
Sold.
I'd almost be inclined to try leading the Sableye. If it's a bad lead, then swap to Deoxys potentially.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Sure. Give it a whirl.
Because that's something you can do, especially when you know you have a mon like Deoxys that's super safe and can really go up against anything. Is you can be riskier with your lead chance, trying to catch a favorable matchup. Because if your Sableye catches their, DD or Medicham, that's really good for you and forces them to switch, and then you get switch advantage. But if you have a bad lead matchup, you just swap to your Deoxys, and they don't have anything that hard counters it. So you just kind of work with yourself. Yeah, you just work yourself back into the match.
Cool. Let's give that let's see if this is expired. Give it a whirl. If we should ping. Oh, he's choosing the team. Cool, sweet. He's listening. Make sure. Easy done. He's like, cool. Now I know what Zoe's leading with. I'll call you out if he leads with something that isn't going to be getting hit by my Sableye. Everyone in the stream, get ready to call him out. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Bum, 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 bum. Someone was it Kaiser saying, is Zoe streaming this? Go Stadium peeps. They're just using my camera and but they're taking care of all this good setup. All this spicy action. 10 out of 10. Also giving me all of the tips.
And Quartz is mentioning that starting from a losing position is good practice.
Aww.
knowing how to come back from a bad lead.
Ooh.
So here's one where you want to swap to that Defense Deoxys.
Just slap. And no shield on the first one. No, there's no.
That's a toss-up, but yeah, it's an Ice Beam, so you can tank that pretty well.
Okay. Oh, that was a quick switch. I didn't even see the. I don't even know what he brought in. Oh, Deoxys. Damn it. Okay.
Yeah, so you just want to spam those Thunderbolts then.
Yep. Okay.
Or you can try shield baiting, but that's kind of a preference.
I don't know whether or not I need to shield there, but again, I don't know how much that would have done on me. So I think that's a practice thing. Like once I know how much damage that does actually just do, I'm gonna.
I would say not shield.
Not
because then you can bring your Sableye back in against their Deoxys.
Yeah. And then
this is a matchup you can kind of just farm. You can just farm it.
Yep. Cool. Okay, that wasn't me. I was like, no, I didn't press charge. But I didn't, so it's all good.
Yeah, Sableye's a little squishy.
Oh, what the heck?
I guess you did press it.
Oh shit, I must have,
That sometimes gets glitched, but yeah. You know, that was a situation where you could have just completely farmed and come out with a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And here you want to use that Power Gem.
Okay. Power Gem, nice. I've never actually used should I sit shield and swap out or take it?
I would say just take it because your Sableye is at such low health that it's not really worth saving.
Yeah.
Like the point of shields for the most part is to mitigate as much damage as possible.
Yeah. And I'll want the shield for Venusaur in case that on the Azumarill. Which they probably are right now.
And now that they just used their move, you can just farm with Vine Whips.
Because it takes that long to charge it back up.
Yeah. Sweet. So now you have a lot of energy coming into this next matchup.
Yeah.
And then you want to use that Sludge Bomb here.
You should be good.
Yeah, because you were able to farm that Azumarill, you put yourself in a really good spot for this Venusaur matchup.
Oh, I should be able to cop that just one more quick attack and then Sludge Bomb. Come on. Yes. Oh yeah. That was a bit tweet.
Yeah, and that was one where I'm not sure, but like if you were really worried about dying, you might have been able to Frenzy Play. But it's like pretty close.
Yeah.
The Sludge Bomb is like a sure thing.